This video is dedicated to those of you out there who has either just graduated from design school or you're self-taught and you're just trying to break into this career path of being a graphic designer. I know in the beginning it can feel so overwhelming. You have no idea where to start. You're just watching a bunch of YouTube tutorials and watching videos like this. And I was exactly where you are 7 years ago. I started off going to design school and I was like, should I go to a studio? Should I start freelancing? And I did all of them. And now 7 years later, I run my own little design studio. I have another designer working full-time with me and I make almost $200,000 a year doing what I love. And it feels unreal, and I wish someone gave me a blueprint that kind of made this whole process a little bit more straightforward. So this is what I am doing. And first of all, I want to reassure you that this overwhelm, this uncertainty is very, very common. It is normal. You'll always be asking, am I good enough? Why does everyone else seem more talented? And you're thinking, how do I ever get clients? How do other people seem to do it so effortlessly? What should I be focusing right now? Which discipline should I focus on? Like packaging, branding, website, there's like so much. But today, I just want to share with you the tips that made all the difference to me and what I would tell my younger self if I was able to go back in time. So buckle in, there are 6 secrets, and if you focus on them early, you will move forward with so much more momentum and ease than you ever thought possible. My tip number 1, and this is really for graphic designers, is to train your aesthetic eye. I think this made all the difference for me in my career, and people can really tell a difference between the work that we produce and other designers out there. In the beginning, many of us, we obsess over software. Should we use Illustrator or Photoshop? I need to learn all the different tools, Figma, but tools are only a very small part of what makes someone a great designer. And if you're working with clients directly, if you want to go down the route of freelancing or starting your own studio and generally have that creative control and be able to partner straight away with great clients who respect you, they don't care what software you use, they just matter on the outcome. And your real power as a designer lies in your ability to recognize what good design looks like and to create it. Start paying attention when something catches your eye. Why does this brand feel premium? Analyze kind of the logo combination of Louis Vuitton and how Chanel lays out their website versus how do they have the packaging design, how do they use colors, materials, finishes, why does this packaging feel expensive and why does this other one feel cheap? Don't just scroll past great design, study it, save references, break them down, ask what decisions were made and why, and over time something incredible happens, which is your brain starts building this visual library. You rely less on guesswork and begin making stronger decisions naturally. Your taste improves before your skills do. That is exactly how growth in design is supposed to work. So if you ever feel like your eyes ahead of your ability, don't panic, because that is the gap where great designers are made. Tip number 2 is to emulate to begin with. And let me take some pressure off you right now. You do not need to be wildly original when you are first starting out. Every great designer were influenced by others before finding their own voice. And emulation is not copying. You should really read the book, Steal Like an Artist, because emulating is learning. When you recreate the level of polish you admire, you start understanding how it works, because there is a science behind this. It's a science and an art. You understand spacing, typography, composition, and restraint in a much deeper way. Think of it as learning a language. You repeat before you become fluent, and then one day, without forcing it on your own, your style starts showing up. And most beginners slow themselves down because they're trying to chase originality a little bit too early. Focus on becoming good first. Focus on understanding the rules and how it works, and then your uniqueness will definitely follow. Secret number 3 is to learn to talk business. And this is where many beginner freelancers unintentionally hold themselves back, because they don't realize that this is a really handy skill. Clients, they're not paying for design files, they're paying for results. They want to attract better customers, they want to look credible, they want to grow, they want to sell, they want to build trust. And when you understand this early, you separate yourself very quickly from all the other designers out there. Instead of saying, I chose this color because it looks nice, you begin saying that this direction helps position your brand as a more premium and trustworthy partner in comparison to all the other brands and competitors in your space. Do you kind of feel the difference? One sounds like a designer and the other sounds like a strategic business partner. And you do not need to know everything about business, just stay curious. I've started reading a lot of business books when I first started freelancing, and to be honest, they're the most interesting. And it's time to kind of ask your clients about your goals, especially when you have those early sales conversations or discovery conversations. Really try to be like a doctor, try to diagnose, be curious, understand who they are trying to reach. Think about how your work supports that outcome. And then in that sense, design stops being decoration and it becomes strategy. And that is when clients start to take you seriously and want to work with you for the long run. Secret number 4 is to put your work out there before you're ready. And I know you've probably heard this advice a million times, but let's get practical here. Try posting once a week on any platform of choice. Use something like Metrical. It's a scheduler. We can just connect all of your accounts, and that allows you kind of detach yourself a little bit from kind of the performance of every single platform. You can literally link, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, everything Pinterest all together and you just post, because what that does is it just exposes you to more opportunity. And it doesn't need to be perfect and it doesn't need to get a lot of eyeballs on it, but just getting you comfortable to put your work out there and be more comfortable to call yourself a designer. And if you keep telling yourself that, oh, I'll share my work when it feels more professional, I'll need a few, projects up my sleeve first before I launch my website, you're going to keep holding yourself back. Because I know if you're a designer, you're probably a perfectionist. You want to make things beautiful, and that is exactly why I held myself back. But at one point, you just got to say, okay, I'm just going to do this, and it's building courage, and that is really important if you want to be a creative and actually get paid to do what you love. Because a closed mouth does not get fed. It really is true. You cannot be hired if no one knows you exist, whether you're trying to go for a studio or you want to freelance and work directly with clients. So start sharing your work now, not someday, now, and set the expectation low that you probably won't get clients from posting your work on social media for the first 3, 4, 5, 6 months, but at least you're building your own confidence. And another really important thing to note is if you're struggling to get clients, to begin with, create your own. Redesign a brand that you love, build a fictional identity for a brand, create packaging, design a landing page, and this is called proof of concept. It is proof that you know what you are doing. And this way, when your first potential client rocks up and says, hey, I saw you're a designer, can you redesign my website? You have something to show them, and that eases their mind so much because it shows them what you are capable of. It is proof. And the good thing about design, it is so visual. As long as they see that you can execute, they will feel so much more at ease and be so much more likely to take a chance in you. Also remember this, that finishing matters more than perfecting. Many designers spend months polishing one project. Meanwhile, someone else completes 10 projects and learns 10 times faster. Momentum is a best friend early on in your career. But of course, always deliver to the highest level of quality where possible. And this is secret number 5. When you're new, it is tempting to doubt yourself and to think, because I'm a beginner, then, it's going to be a little bit more preliminary. It's going to be a bit more basic. I might not have the same polish as larger agencies. And that's where all the tips above come into play. Emulate the big brands. What is Nike doing so well? What is Apple doing so well? The cool thing about design is that it is free. There are free fonts, the colors are free, composition is free. You can piece together Apple's website. And what I do now is I leverage a lot of AI. I use Krea, K-R-E-A, as a platform, and I use Nano Banana inside it to use as a prompt. And what you can do is you can create some super high quality visuals to pair with your brand identity. And you can create mock-ups that are super, super high quality and realistic. And don't hold yourself back just because you are a quote unquote a beginner. You can create quality work that is on par, if not better, than agencies. And it doesn't matter if it's your first week or first month or first 6 months as a designer, you can do that. That is something that I think is a barrier to a lot of people, is you feel like there's this really steep learning curve. But if you just find really high quality references and learn what makes it work, there is no reason you can't recreate it. And that brings us to secret number 6, which is to treat every project like a dream project. From my very first freelance project to now, I've treated every single project with kind of the same level of excitement. I pretend as if I have unlimited constraint, and sometimes even when clients say like, oh, I just want to keep it simple, just do what you can. And even if they're not expecting a fantastic outcome, I would do one the way they envisioned it, and I do one that is like something that is worthy of winning design awards, and to present to them both. In the beginning, they might be conservative, or they might just not have that vision of what it could be. But once they see the alternative design where you really put your flair and your thoughts and strategy behind it, they're gonna be like, wow, I didn't even know this was possible, because they don't have the expertise that you have. They don't have that eye for aesthetics that you have. And that is how you create your own opportunities. Really, just over, I think, 3 weeks ago, I had a girl who used to work with me with another client. She's the marketing coordinator, and she moved on to a new business. And she said, Annie, I just need some Canva templates because the current brand doesn't look great. And I told her, we could create you some Canva templates, and that might improve your brand by 20%, or we can go for a rebrand and make you miles and miles better than the competitor. What would you rather? And then I just put together a mood board. I put together a little proposal. I showed her what was possible. And then she went ahead and convinced the CEO to do this. And we started on a rebrand. You just need to have the confidence, need to have the drive and the excitement to create amazing work. And you get to show the clients what is possible. At the end of the day, I want you to take away a skill that's going to change your career faster in a way that you could not have expected. No one teaches you how to confidently present your work. And that's what keeps a lot of designers either stuck in doing studio work or working in-house when they really want to go ahead and start freelancing and building their own career and not being bottled into kind of one design position and work directly with clients. But if you never know how to talk about pricing, then you can't lead a client conversation without second-guessing yourself and underselling yourself. And I struggled with this earlier on as well. Design education teaches craft, but it rarely teaches you how to sell your thinking. So this is why I created my High-Ticket Sales Deck, and it is a framework I use to structure all of my client conversations, and it is free for you as a Canva template they can grab just by scanning this QR code on the left right here. This is literally the exact template I walk all prospective clients through without feeling pushy, diagnose, ask questions, and if a sales call makes you feel nervous, this will definitely give you something solid to latch onto, to have this framework to walk them through it, because this is the first step to any project. This is the first step to building trust. And a great designer should never have to feel stuck getting underpaid simply because you don't know what to say on a sales conversation. So grab it on the left. And if you enjoyed watching this video, I know you're also going to love this one on the left right here. If you prefer listening on the go, we also have a podcast version called the Brand Creator Podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.